Hello everyone. So today I'm just going to go over a couple of the cool web tools that I found that are very interesting and great tools to add to your teacher toolkit. I have more on my website that you should definitely go check out, and this video will be in the website. So first, let's talk about PowerPoint. It's a great tool. We know that we use it to make slides, to make PowerPoints, presentations, put our lessons on there to teach to the class, bullet points so we know really what to remember. But did you know that you can use it to make worksheets? So right here is my final worksheet that I've made, and here's one that I've been working on. So we can just go to new. Actually, so you're gonna go, make sure you have a blank slide. So this is honestly all we really use is text boxes. So I already have a text box for the name, for the title, but then I want to add the date. So I just put another text box in and I go date and I underline. And I have the name highlighted because a lot of students forget to put their name and it's really important. So we just want to make sure it's highlighted so they know to put their name on there. So the title's done, we have the font, so now we're going to add a text box. So we're going to add a text box right here, and then we want to do addition problems. So you're going to hit tab 10, enter, plus tab 10. And then do the line to put the line underneath, and then say your students write really big because they're going to be younger. So you're going to hit enter multiple times so they have room to write. And then we're just going to add another problem. Let's do this one, subtraction. So let's do tab 10, enter, subtraction, tab 5, enter. And you want to make sure that everything lines up. Like you want your ones with the ones, tens with the tens, hundreds with the hundreds. Because if not, it's going to look weird. The students are going to have a hard time understanding it. So say you did that whole column and you want to add another column right next to it. All you do is create another text box and then start again. So let's do tab 15, enter, plus tab 10. And then you're going to create the line, and like I said before, do as many tabs as you think necessary, enters as you think necessary, tab, let's do 15, enter, subtraction, tab, make sure they line up, do 5, enter, go back, subtraction. The subtraction one always gives me a little bit of a hard time. Okay, and then you're going to hit enter and do the lines. And then, say your worksheet's all done, now you can add a picture. So let's do math addition. So this is the cute picture. And if you see under here, there's the credits, but I'm not posting this but if I were not posting this anywhere, I would take the credits out because my students don't need to see that. But since this is going online, I will leave the person whose credit it is, whose work it is, there. And then I can also move it down, put it in the corner. I can honestly make it the whole background if I wanted. So that is how you make a worksheet in PowerPoint. Just make sure that you go to home, that you put a new slide in. When you hit new slide, and then you have to change the dimensions. This is an 8.5 by 11, the size of a normal piece of paper. So I taught you how to do that. My next big one that I really like, which I've started using with my student teaching, is Google Classroom. So Google Classroom is a great way. It's like Blackboard that we use for our class. So it's a great way to make sure everything is in the right place. What we need, that every subject has its own class, so we can put the assignments that need to be done. So say, let's go back to my English Language Arts class. So I created something and I put a worksheet here and I gave the instructions. So it's my word study plan for my students to do. So they have a book, and this is just the example to find sight words, phonic rules, and tier vocabulary. So that's just the example. So then I will assign them a book, or they can each pick their own book with my approval, and then they can create the document. So let's go back and let me show you how to create a Google website, a Google Classroom. So go to Create Class. Let's do History. And Social Studies History Department. There we go. And ideas for subjects just automatically pops up. So it's going to take a minute. My Wi-Fi is pretty slow. All right, got it. So right here is the Google Class code, so I can have students join my class. Right here is the Meet link, and then I can add comments and respond. Over here is the classwork, where I can create and add assignments. Here are my students. I don't have any students, but if I wanted to invite students or have them join with the class code, this is where my students would be. And this is the grade tab, but you can't see because I don't have any grades in, but it's the grade tab. So every topic that you have and its assignment and you have the rubric and a grade for it, when they're done, especially if it's multiple choice, it'll automatically grade and put it in the grade book. But if you have to grade it after you put the grade in and submit it back to the students, the grade will just appear in the grade book, so you don't have to put that in manually. So let's go here. Let's create an assignment. So let's create an assignment. So I can add the rubric if I want, but let's name it World War I paper. So I can actually create. Let's go to create. Let's go to a doc. All right, make a copy for each student. So it's a doc. It's going to make a copy for each student. This is where I want the students to put their paper. So I also want to add some information. So I can add them a link. So let's go to links. I can add a link and I could just copy and paste it. Or let's add a file from Google Drive. So my Google Drive is automatically set up to this, so I can add a file. Let's do all right, let's just add a material chart. So this is the material that my students will need for their project. Students can view, and I want students, so I want each student to have a copy of the material chart, or I can have them, I don't want them to edit my material chart, or I can have students can view file. So check for plagiarism, of course, because if they're writing a paper, you want to make sure it's not plagiarized. History, all students, points out of 100. I want to make it due for December 15th. Time, let's do 10:30 a.m. before the class. So I can assign it. And once it's assigned, then all of my students will get a notification that I just put up a project or an assignment, and then they can start doing it now or wait until we discuss it. So here it is. So the untitled document is where they'll all be typing it, and then here's the material chart. So I can see what students turned it in and what students it's assigned to. So I can go to view assignment, and then here's the gist, and then instructions has both parts. So that is Google Classroom. And the last thing I really want to show everyone is Epic Books. Epic Books is a great way to, especially in the world of virtual, to make sure that your students are reading and learning. So I'm at the home page of my Epic Books. So right now I'm doing a unit on dinosaurs. My balanced literacy unit is all about dinosaurs. So if you see, my Epic is just full of dinosaur books. So if I go to my library, these are all of my books that are my favorite in my library that I've read, that I thought would be good for an assignment. So when I go to my students, I can go to my roster. I don't have any, I have one student on my roster. So I can see if they're on, what they're doing, and to make sure that all my students are in a group. So the daily reading logs, which is awesome, is I can see to make sure, say I assign my students to read 15 minutes every day. Whatever book they choose, they can read the book multiple times. They just have to read it 15 minutes every day. So it'll say the student has not read, but then to say today they read anytime today. There's no due date. They just have to read and go on the website and read just for the day. I can see and make sure, okay, Sally did not read or Sally did read for the day, and then she'll get credit for that. But she's not going to get credit for the days that there's 0 minutes. So there's the student logs too. So I say before Christmas time, I want all of you guys to finish 10 books. Doesn't matter the size of the books, how long it takes you to read. I want you to finish 10 books. So I could see all the books that they finished and how long it's taken them to read, and if they did any activities included with the books. Now I can go to assignments and I can assign students books. So say my whole class, which this never happens, but is on reading level L. They're all on reading level L. We're doing a whole unit on dinosaurs. They can all read this book alone, so I assign them a book about Tyrannosaurus. I assign them the book, and I want to make sure that they all read it, they all have it, it'll be emailed to them, it'll be sent to them. They all now have access to read the book. Then that's when I would go to my daily reading logs, see if they're reading it, or my student logs to see if they finished the book. And then the quizzes part, which I think is so cool, because you know what, we read books, we don't know if the students are comprehending what they're learning. So using these quizzes, after the students are reading, I can create a quiz. I can use another quiz that's on Epic Books, and I can assign my students the quiz for after they're reading to make sure they're comprehending what they are learning. So if you go here, I can go to all quizzes, my quizzes, and then other educator quizzes. So I can open the book, find the quiz, and like I did in assignments, I can assign the quiz to my students. So I hope that all of these tools you guys are putting in your teacher's toolbox, because they're all definitely in mine. And like I said, check out my website to see all the other tools that I did not talk about in the video. Thank you.